What's going on, Cancer? And welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling amazing today. So for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, your shares, your donations. Your support really does warm my heart, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. You are in for an amazing journey. Now, the purpose of this channel are for those of you who have Cancer in your placement. Sun, moon, rising, wherever Cancer. This one is for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off our ruler here, the good old moon. And I discuss what phase she's in, what sign she's in, when she's going void, of course, just all those lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, and everything will be gravy, Cancer. Now, let's get into it. I keep saying I'm going to pull back, and I think it gets a little more obnoxious each time. So settle in, Cancer. Good thing I got timestamps below if you weren't aware of that. So, you know, utilize them as you will. But let's get into things. Moving on. So, the moon. The moon has entered Leo this time, so that explains all this jubilant energy right now. Because with the energy, or with the moon being in Leo, the energy is more playful, more childlike, and emotions are just really cheerful. There is, however, a chance for, like, you know, hubris could become a factor here, just because, you know, Leo energy embodies the sun, you know. In the sun, when you're feeling in your sun energy and feeling, you know, all hot and all cool, it's like we can maybe start feeling ourselves a little too much. So just kind of be mindful of that, Cancer. And this is a good time too if you have little ones. You know, this is just a good time to just, like, you know, really just kind of get on the you know, tap into your inner child. You know, just have fun. You know, go out and play with your, if you got nieces and nephews, whatever that's looking like, Cancer. You know, this is that kind of energy for it here. And also, which is kind of good that we have all this sort of like optimistic energy here, because the moon is going into, you know, now that we're out of that full moon phase, now we're entering into a waning gibbous. And this is a time of reflection. And, you know, and it's good too, I think, you know, to be in this kind of like sunshine energy, because that's Leo's ruler, the sun. Because when you go to reflect on this thing, you know, wherever you're at on your journey at this point in time, you know, we want to look at both what went wrong and what went right, you know, and get the lessons from both of those things, you know, what not to repeat and what we want to keep happening, you know, so we can get that consistency, we get all that positive, we get all that sunshine all the time. So that's what this waning gibbous is about, you know, just kind of figure out what's working, what worked, what didn't work, and, you know, kind of just adjust, you know. So, whew. I think that's, oh, and last thing, in case you all were curious, I'm using the Everyday Witch Tarot deck. It's a Chariot Friends exclusive, and I included a link for this deck and other decks I like using down in the description box below. So check that out if you're interested, Cancer. But, whew, a lot of housekeeping for you. Let's get into your reading here. So the first card is going to represent just like the general energy that to work with today. So Higher Self. What's the general energy looking like for Cancer today? Let's see how things are looking for you, Cancer. Nice. You got the Ace of Swords here, Cancer. We can see clearly now that the sun is out, and I'm with it. You know, this is a good energy to work with too. You know what? You know, enlightenment, because that's what the Ace of Swords is about, and how appropriate really for being on this waning gibbous phase, because this is what we want to get from this phase right now. You know, for however long this you know, the phase is last. I'll have to look into more of that, Cancer. I got some homework to do, but you know, during just this waning gibbous phase time, you know, this is the time to gather. You see these birds here that are flying around here? These are your nuggets of wisdom that we're trying to collect. You know, we're trying to get wisdom from this stuff here, because it's one thing, you know, it's one thing to learn a lesson, but, you know, where the wisdom comes into play is when we start putting that stuff into action. Because if we're just like, you could say like, oh, I get it, but then if we repeat stuff, we haven't really gotten it. We may understand it maybe but we're not applying it. So, you know, it's one of those things. But the thing with the Ace of Swords is we can't, you know, there's a potential for it to be kind of like a lazy kind of, or how do I want to put this, Cancer? You know, I feel like don't just sit on this stuff here. You know, when enlightenment comes, when that epiphany comes, you know, when we see like a pattern that might need to be broken, let's take some action on that thing. Let's analyze what that is, and at least just, even if you don't understand what it means right now, throw it into your orbit. You know, that's something that I like doing. You know, when I say at the beginning, you know, take what resonates with you, let that nugget sit with you. If you even got like a you know, perfect. Let that nugget that's a seed that's been planted, because you know that's what the Ace of Swords is too. The aces are seeds that are planted. You know, we're planting that enlightenment here. So yeah, I like this. I feel like this is a strong start, you know, to really, when we're getting on this thing, you know, this is a good time to kind of do some hermit work, you know, that introspective work, and see how we felt also too about you know, not just analyzing stuff here, you know, thinking about these things. How do we feel when we won this stuff here, you know, so that again we can repeat that energy. And you know, how do we feel if we failed at something, you know, so again, so we don't repeat that stuff, so you know, so that we can add this to our positive bucket here. Because the thing too, you know, it's not all about focusing, you know, I say like focus on the positive, but in order for the positive, you know, for there to be positive, there has to be negative things, Cancer. You know, it's a balance here. So I think I'll leave that there. That was, look at you, all profound on a Monday. I'm not mad at that. Let's get into your second card here, which is going to be how we can work with the energy. So, higher self, how can we work with this Ace of Swords energy at this time? Let's see, what are some things you can do? Absolutely, Cancer. Apply it. This is exactly what I was talking about with this Emperor energy. This is Aries energy here. And Aries is about more fire energy here. You know, when you understand this thing, you know, let's say there's been like a habit we've been thinking about correcting. You know, let's say we have like where you know, maybe we like to we're trying to get on a diet, but you know, we got like a secret stash of cookies or a little chocolate thing, you know. If we have something that we're trying to correct here, if you recognize that thing, take action. You know, the Emperor energy is like, you know, it's meant to do these type of and you know what, Cancer, when I'm thinking about this, there's a thing that's called the it's called the lunar cycle return. It's wherever your moon sign is placed, there's a period of time every month whenever the moon lines up with where your moon is on your natal chart, and that's a good time to if we wanted to correct any sort of like habit, you know, or maybe establish some new type of routines or something along those lines. You know, kind of look into that energy when you have some time, Cancer, because that's when I feel like, you know, it's a good time for Emperor energy, because Emperor energy is temporary. You know, sometimes I feel like when you talk about that bossing up, that fatherly energy, you know, that Aries, go out and get it, that being in that all the time can be exhausting. You know, this is to rise up when you're ready to apply this thing. If you're just Emperor just to Emperor, eventually, like I was saying, you know, you're gonna run on E, you know, or that we get caught up that we don't know where the lesson is. You know, if we're just shooting aimlessly here, we're chasing after birds, as opposed to bringing this bird to manifesting it, bringing it to the ground, and then figuring out what we're going to do with this thing. So, whew, all right, let's keep that moving. I hope that made sense, Cancer. Let's get to your second card here. Yeah, we're still working with the energy. So, how else can Cancer work with this energy at this time? You know, you're bringing it, boss. I see you. Well, wow. More Aries energy here, Cancer. That's the take action, because that's what the two of Wands is about. You know, pick the thing that makes sense. You know, let's say for example, you know, if we're doing like a self-growth type of thing, you know, we're trying to do like a personal improvement, you know, because, you know, for example, you know, when I ask, you know, when I'm like at the end, you know, where I say like, you know, check your moon, check your rising, you know, check your chart. When you have those things that, when you find a focus, you know, or where was I going with this? You know, when you're thinking about self-growth and you're trying to figure out where you want to go, you know, pick the thing that makes most sense. You know, pick the thing that's going to make that you're going to get the most out of your energy here, so that you can kind of piggyback off that thing. You know, it's that's where I feel like this Two of Wands Emperor combo is going here. It's like there are windows, little pockets here, Cancer, you know. Think about, okay, here's a good example. So I have a musical background. I might have mentioned this in the past. And I haven't music here lately, but I was thinking about how music served its purpose for me up until this point here. I was very technical when I was practicing, and that was my jam. You know, I could sight read like a boss. You know, I could do, if you put it in front of me, I could do it. But where strength that needed to be focused on was in my improvisation, and I wasn't channeling my energy there. Like a little bit, I was more so focusing on what I already knew as opposed to, you know, acquiring a new skill here. So I feel like, you know, with this kind of energy, it's like it's almost like you're trying to, if you're gonna level up here, Cancer, it's just about thinking about where you want to channel that energy. I hope that makes sense, you know. And then too, you know, taking that action as well, not just thinking about, you know, oh, it would be nice if I, like, you know, it'd be like something if I was to say, like, you know, my camera issues, you know, if I didn't fix anything, or, you know, I just, oh, well, I have camera problems, and then just let there be camera problems, you know, there's no improvement, Cancer. So I'm gonna move on. I hope that makes sense. Word salad. Serving it up. I'm gonna have to get like a nameplate or something along. I got some ideas cooking up in the thing, Cancer, so stay tuned for that. But let's get to your next card, which is going to be some challenges. Higher self. Let's stop focusing on mine. Let's get onto your Cancer. Higher self. What are some challenges that Cancer might be facing with channeling this energy here? Let's see what's going on with that, Cancer. Interesting, of course. You got the Wheel of Fortune here, Cancer. So when I feel like, and how funny, it's still in the same position, Cancer. It's a tricky one, Cancer. You know what I say, think about where you're at right now in life. What is it, where is it that you feel that there are weaknesses that you could refine at, you know, and go down there. You know, sometimes I feel like because it's going to take harder work to improve our weaknesses, you know, maybe we focus on refining our strengths more in the hopes that maybe they'll outshine our weaknesses, where that's cool, Cancer, but you get an imbalance because eventually you're going to be so strong on one thing here, but when you need to access those tools that you've neglected, then everything just falls apart, and then you have all this sunshine but no foundation. You know what I mean? It's like working out one arm. You know what I mean? It's like your left arm is super dope, but if we had to tie it behind your back and you got to use your right arm for stuff, you're not going to be able to lift anything. So maybe with this Wheel of Fortune popping up, because I feel, you know, it's been kind of following us too, along with the sun. I feel like, you know, maybe for some of us, you know, if we're trying to find our destiny here, it's maybe we can look into, again, some places where where a weakness that is waiting to be refined, you know, because I feel like if that's the only way I feel, or one of the ways, not the only way, Cancer. I feel like that's one of the ways that we're going to get some clarity on this thing, you know, get some Ace of Swords, and then start getting consistency, you know, in your manifesting, in your journey here, you know. Yeah, Cancer, this is profound. I'm with this, and this is just something I really feel like this energy right here is just something, we got some ruminating to do, Cancer, some real soul searching here. So and again, don't be turned off by the idea of having to focus on a weak place here, because the sooner we knock that out of the way, then that opens up more opportunities here for you here. We can keep this wheel moving, because if we just stay focused on one, you know, okay, look how this arrow's on this house here. If that's where all you're channeling your energy to, but you know, it's like, I wish that I had like love, but I'm focusing on my house. I want money, but I'm focusing on this, you know, we're not balancing out here. So Yeah, let's keep it moving. I hope that made sense. Let's get to what are some other challenges that might come up for you, Cancer. Higher self, how do we, because we're philosophers today. Higher self, what else can we philosophize about? What are some other challenges that are going on here? Wow, Cancer. The strength card here, Leo energy, Cancer. But look at how in tune you are, Cancer. This is something that, because again, this is energy, and I'll remind you all the time, this is energy that you're bringing me here, Cancer. This is how, when we're synced up like this, magic happens. That strength card happens. This confidence happens because we're focusing on. You know where you're strong, Cancer. If I were to ask you what are your strengths, you could rattle off a whole list. But then when we get to talk about weaknesses, people get weird, and me included, because no one wants to focus on that. You know, that's something that, because then that makes us vulnerable. That makes us feel like we're less than. You know, that gives us something to overcome, and that requires work. And that's good, Cancer, because then that's growth. That's how you level up. Because if you focus on the same type of thing, that's like, okay, here's another scenario for you. That's like if you have a video game character and then you know how they have all their stats and you just put all your stuff into power, but we don't focus on intellect or agility or anything like that. And where you're super strong, you can lift a building, you can't catch anybody, you know, or you're not, you don't have any creative ways to use it, Cancer. Tap into this strength here, because you know what, too, Leo energy, and that's so funny, I was just thinking about that this morning. Leo energy is, because I feel like it's not something that is really focused on with Leo. Leo is, you know, when you think about it at first, you know, people automatically probably think about like, oh, they're egotistical and whatnot, but Leos are, or just Leo energy is super creative. You know, it's because how can you not be inspired by the sun? And if that's what you have at your disposal here, every Leo that I've ever met has some sort of creativity in a way that that would blow your mind. You know, there's something, whether it be music, any kind of arts, and then you add it on top of that. Leo energy is really good with children, so it allows you Cancer, to tap into, and children are what? They're super imaginative. They can create the craziest scenarios here because they haven't been told that they can't do otherwise. You know, the sky's the limits for them, and they believe that with all their hearts and soul, Cancer. So this is a good time to tap into that energy. Whew, I'm tapping into this Leo energy right now. You know, you see what I mean? It's empowering. You know, Cancer. Let's bring this thing home, because I really could stay. I could stay in this all day. You know. What's the last card? Higher self. Well, lessons. What are some lessons from this thing, Cancer? What are some closing thoughts? Because wow, this is you gave me a lot to think about, Cancer. You got the 8 of Wands here, Cancer, and I like that. Let's switch back over here, because this is when we start lining up, when our energies are, when we become more balanced, Cancer, things really start lining up into place, and that consistency, that manifestation starts really happening at a way that I feel like we want it to happen, but we don't wholly believe it in. Because the 8 of Wands, let me tell you about the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is a card of like good news coming in, or really just news coming in general. But I feel like honestly, with all this stuff coming in here, Cancer, we start refining this stuff here. Goodness is going to come from all this stuff here too, and I feel like it's going to be faster than you realize. And this could also be too, you know. Because this is Mercury and Sagittarius, this energy here, and I feel like there is when you start channeling your thoughts, because Mercury has to do with thoughts and communication, and I feel like when you learn how to communicate with yourself, you know, and how to really tap into your manifestation energy here, you're going to be able to tap into, this is where, now I'm bringing the Sagittarius in here, Cancer, this is not just random, it's you'll be able to expand, you know, you'll be able to think more expansively, you'll be able to manifest more expansively, everything will just be bigger, you know, strength, you know, tapping into that confidence energy, you know, that mad manifestation energy that you have, Cancer. I'm gonna leave that there because yeah, I'm just looking at the time. I'll keep you here all day talking about this, because this, Cancer, if we needed just a confidence booster, I'm with it, because that was really nice, Cancer. Let me I'm with it. If you like that as well, like that thing. Give that a thumbs up. Share this with everybody. And that's not, and again, that's not me to say that just to be like, you know, like, ooh, make me popular. Cancer, this is something that if this is going to uplift somebody, because that's the whole point of doing both of these channels that I do. This is, we're trying to tap into something here. You know, we're trying to get the most out of our abilities here that we were gifted. You know, this is stuff that you've been given to work with. So I'm about to get into it again. That's my whole point. Let's raise everybody in your soul tribe to the roof, because this doesn't even matter if you resonate with Cancer or not. This is just something that I feel like, you know, we need to tell each other, ourselves and our soul tribe, all the time, that we can do more, that we can be expansive, that we can think bigger, and whatever that looks like, you know, to not be overwhelmed by however our light shines. Subscribe, Cancer. Subscribe, hit that bell button to get notified when I release stuff each week. I'm going to get more on Facebook. I have some stuff cooking up, Cancer. I'm going to start stepping up, Cancer. So I'm going to follow your lead here. What else? Oh, last thing. Check your sun, check your moon, check your rise. I'm assuming you're here because you checked your sun, but check all that stuff, Cancer. And then check out, you know, my other channel, Alchemist 8. And the thing too, when you think about these messages, you know, when your people tell you, you know, maybe if you watch other tarot readers, you know, when they're inviting you to check this stuff here, it's not for you to, if it doesn't resonate with you, again, it doesn't resonate with you at that time. It doesn't, you don't need to force it, but it's just to see what are some possibilities, you know, what energies are we maybe leaning in more? What are we resonating with more? Why aren't we resonating with this thing more? You know, expansive, Cancer. All that housekeeping is down in the description box below, Cancer. Let me get you out of here. Because you got Ace of Pentacles to do, because there are brand new beginnings coming up here, Cancer. Look at that pinnacle. That's you discovered. That's you leveling up. That's what this looks like here. The sun is shining. You're in your field here. You know, you're in your element right now. This is what I'm talking about. This is what is at your disposal here when we understand the strengths that we are working with, when we follow our hearts, you know, our intuition, when we channel. Cancer, Ace of Pentacles can absolutely happen. And then when you're operating too from an Ace of Swords thing, it's like you know what you want to manifest, so you can go out there and get your abundance and whatever that looks like for you, Cancer. Go out there. And Cancer, I'm not coming at you, you know, I'm just, it's when readings like this happen, you know, it's just like I want to, there's this passion here because there's so much potential here. And I want you to understand how great you are and what you're bringing to me all the time here. You're more aligned with these universal energies than you think. I know it can be a lot. That's why we have a soul tribe here to do all this stuff, you know, so that we can bridge this gap together here. Don't feel pressure, Cancer. If this is too much for you, I got you. I'm gonna put this in a way that you can digest this thing here, because I want you to make the most of this. So whew, all right. Whoa, goodness, Cancer. Happy Monday. Let me get you out of here, because I keep saying that. Stay safe out there, Cancer. Because you literally last a little bit here. You just raised my vibration to the moon. And keep it up. Keep up that good work, Cancer. And I will catch you on the next one later.